Victoria Hayes slammed her hand on the steering wheel as smoke poured from under the hood of her red sports car. The engine made terrible grinding sounds before going completely silent. She was already late for the most important meeting of her career, and now this happened in the worst possible neighborhood. She grabbed her phone and called her assistant. "Get me a tow truck right now. I don't care what it costs," but the nearest luxury car service was 3 hours away. Victoria looked around at the rundown buildings and empty lots. This was definitely not her world. Then she spotted a small garage across the street. The faded sign read Johnson Auto Repair. Victoria had no choice. She walked over in her expensive heels, trying not to step in the oil stains on the concrete. Inside the garage, a tall black man in work clothes was bent over the engine of an old pickup truck. His hands were covered in grease, but he worked with careful precision. Several other mechanics worked quietly around him. "Excuse me," Victoria said in her sharpest voice. "I need someone to look at my car immediately. I'll pay double your normal rate." Marcus Johnson looked up slowly. He had kind eyes but a serious face. "What seems to be the problem, ma'am?" Victoria pointed toward her car. The engine died. 3 different dealerships couldn't figure out what was wrong with it last month. "I doubt you can fix what trained professionals couldn't. But I'm desperate." Marcus wiped his hands on a rag and walked outside to look at her car. He opened the hood and listened to Victoria describe the problems. After a few minutes, he nodded. "I can fix this," he said simply. Victoria laughed bitterly. "Right, if you can actually fix this engine, I'll marry you." She rolled her eyes at her own joke. "But I need it done in 2 hours." Marcus looked at her for a long moment. "I'll have it ready in 1 hour," he said quietly, and went to get his tools. Marcus rolled up his sleeves and got to work immediately. Victoria watched from a plastic chair in the corner, tapping her foot impatiently. She expected him to give up after a few minutes. But Marcus kept working with steady focus. He pulled out tools she had never seen before and began taking apart the engine piece by piece. Victoria noticed how his workers respected him. They asked his advice on their own projects, and he always stopped to help them with patience. "You seem to know a lot about engines," Victoria said after an hour. "I studied mechanical engineering at State University," Marcus replied without looking up. "Got my degree? Worked for Ford for 5 years?" Victoria was surprised. "Then why are you working in this old garage?" Marcus finally looked at her. "Because this is my neighborhood. These people need someone who won't overcharge them for honest work. I train young kids here too. Give them skills so they can make good money." Victoria looked around the garage with new eyes. She saw certificates on the wall, photos of Marcus with groups of teenagers, and thank you letters from customers. This was not what she had expected. Marcus worked for 3 more hours. He rebuilt parts of the engine that Victoria did not even know existed. His hands moved with the skill of a surgeon. Every bolt was placed perfectly. Every wire connected exactly right. Finally, Marcus wiped his hands and walked to Victoria's car. He turned the key, and the engine came to life with a smooth, powerful sound. It had never run this well, not even when it was brand new. Victoria stared in shock. "How did you do that?" "The problem was in the fuel injection system," Marcus explained. "Most mechanics don't understand the computer programming side. I redesigned the whole setup." Victoria felt her face turn red. She had completely misjudged this man. Marcus was not just a mechanic. He was an artist, an engineer, and a teacher, all in one. Her expensive car was now running better than it ever had. Fixed by someone she had looked down on, Victoria paid Marcus and drove away quickly, hoping to forget her embarrassing mistake. But she could not escape what happened next. One of Marcus's workers had recorded everything on his phone. The video showed Victoria making her rude comment about marriage and looking down on Marcus. It also showed Marcus working quietly and professionally to fix her car. The video went online that same evening. By morning, millions of people had watched it. The comments were brutal. "Rich CEO thinks she's better than working people. This woman is disgusting. Boycott her company. Marcus Johnson is a hero. Victoria Hayes is a snob." Victoria's phone rang constantly. Her assistant looked terrified. "The board wants to see you immediately," she said. "The stock price is dropping fast." In the boardroom, 12 angry faces stared at Victoria. Board member John Miller spoke first. "This video is destroying our reputation. Customers are canceling orders. 3 major investors pulled out this morning. We built this company on treating people fairly," said board member Linda Ross. "Now everyone thinks we're arrogant and racist." Victoria tried to defend herself. "It was just a bad joke. I was stressed and angry about being late." "That doesn't matter," Miller said firmly. "The public sees a wealthy white woman insulting a hardworking black man. Our company image is ruined." Meanwhile, Marcus continued working at his garage as if nothing had happened. But everything had changed for him too. Phone calls came from major car companies offering him high-paying jobs. Reporters wanted interviews. People sent donations to support his training programs. Marcus turned down all the job offers. "This is my home," he told the reporters. "These are my people. Money isn't everything." Victoria watched the news coverage from her office. She saw Marcus helping a teenager fix a brake system. She saw him refusing to take credit for his good work. She realized she had not just misjudged him. She had revealed her own ugly character to the whole world. The woman who built a business empire had destroyed it with one thoughtless comment. Victoria knew she had to do something. Her company was losing money every day. More importantly, she could not sleep at night knowing how badly she had treated Marcus. She drove back to his garage 3 weeks later. Marcus was teaching a young woman how to change oil. He looked surprised to see Victoria, but did not stop his lesson. "Can I talk to you privately?" Victoria asked when he was finished. Marcus wiped his hands and led her to a small office. "What do you want?" "I want to apologize," Victoria said. "Really apologize? What I said was wrong and stupid. You're an amazing engineer and a good man. I was blind and prejudiced." Marcus studied her face carefully. "Okay, apology accepted. There's something else," Victoria continued. "I want to help your training programs. My company could provide funding, equipment, and job placement for the kids you teach." "Why would you do that?" Marcus asked suspiciously. Victoria took a deep breath. "Because you're doing something important here. I spent my whole life making money. You're actually changing lives." Marcus was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, "Let me think about it." Over the next month, Victoria visited the garage several times. She watched Marcus work with teenagers, teaching them valuable skills with endless patience. She saw how he treated everyone with respect. From the youngest student to the oldest customer, slowly, Marcus began to trust Victoria's intentions. They started meeting to plan a community automotive program. Victoria used her business connections to find sponsors and partners. Marcus designed the training curriculum during their late-night planning sessions. Victoria learned about Marcus's childhood in this neighborhood. He told her about kids who had no opportunities, about families struggling to afford car repairs. Victoria shared her own story of building her company from nothing. Working 18-hour days for years, they discovered they both cared deeply about hard work and helping others succeed. Their partnership grew stronger as they planned workshops, job fairs, and scholarship programs. Victoria found herself looking forward to their meetings more than anything else in her week. 6 months later, their automotive training program was helping over 200 young people. Victoria had moved her office closer to the neighborhood to work with Marcus every day. Her company's reputation had completely recovered. Profits were higher than ever. Victoria was not the same person who had made that cruel comment. She spent her weekends at the garage, learning to work with her hands. Marcus taught her how engines really worked. She taught him about business planning and financial management. There, friendship deepened into something neither had expected. Victoria admired Marcus's kindness and wisdom. Marcus respected Victoria's determination and intelligence. They balanced each other perfectly. One evening, after a successful graduation ceremony for their first group of students, Marcus and Victoria sat on the garage steps, watching the sunset. "Victoria," Marcus said quietly, "I have something to ask you." Victoria's heart began beating faster. I know this all. Started with your joke about marriage, Marcus continued. But that's not why I'm asking this. Will you marry me? Not because of what you said that day, but because I love who you've become. Because we make each other better people. Victoria felt tears in her eyes. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. Their wedding brought together two very different worlds. Victoria's wealthy friends sat next to Marcus's neighbors and former students. The ceremony was held in the garage where they first met, now decorated with flowers and lights. Sometimes the best love stories begin with the worst first impressions.